3K. So, this is the third day of our English lessons, persuasive writing. So today we're going to have a look at deconstructing a persuasive letter. Again, I've put the pictures up so you can really focus on what we're looking at and about the use of donkeys in Greece. I've put this picture back on for you just so that you can keep in mind exactly what it is that we're looking at for our English lessons. Remember, we're going to be writing a persuasive letter to the country of Greece to try and hopefully stop them from using the donkeys for tourism. So again, look at this picture, make sure you understand what's going on in it. So, looking at deconstructing a persuasive letter, we need to look at the main focuses within it. So it must have an opening paragraph, which must introduce the topic or area. It must have cause and effect, and that's about logically linking the points that you want to make to support your argument. It must have a final paragraph, which we know as a conclusion. So that final paragraph basically just brings all of your main points together. You also have to make a decision whether you are for using the donkeys for tourism or against using the donkeys for tourism. You can only write for one side of the argument, so you have to make a decision. Are you for using donkeys or against using donkeys in Greece? When you have made a point in a paragraph, you then need to add detail to make your point make sense. Each new paragraph introduces a new point, a new argument. And remember, we've always spoken about rhetorical questions and how they make the reader think a little bit more. Remember, a rhetorical question is not something you answer in your argument, but it's something that makes the reader think. You also must use strong emotive adjectives because this challenges the reader to disagree with you. When you write about your opinions, you must try and present them as fact. You need to have ambiguous phrases in there, for example, like probably, almost, certainly. And it must also be written in the present tense. You must use present tense verbs and adjectives. I know that's a lot to take in, but I've modelled on the next few slides all of these things. So I've written a persuasive letter, not to do with donkeys because that would be me doing your work for you. I've written a persuasive letter all to do with school uniform. And I need you to try and find all of these parts within the letter. I've done the first bit for you on the next slide. So, this is the opening paragraph of my persuasive letter. Remember, this is a persuasive letter about school uniform. Nothing to do with donkeys and tourism because that's what you're going to write. So this is the opening paragraph of my persuasive letter. Dear Mr. Smith, having been a pupil at Spring Primary for the last 7 years, I feel it is now my duty to relate to you the feelings of your students towards wearing a school uniform. It has long been felt by myself and my peers that wearing a school uniform is an outdated and impractical notion, which we no longer feel is necessary. By writing this letter, I hope to convince you that this is the case and begin negotiations on changing this rule. So, that's the opening paragraph. So what I've done in there is actually stated why I'm writing the letter. and the fact that I actually want to change Mr. Smith's opinion that school uniform should be worn in school. So I've got an opening paragraph. I'm using emotive language. I'm challenging the reader that you might change their mind, and my opinion is presented as a fact. In the next slide, I've actually done the deconstruction for you, so you can see where they all are. So in this slide here, you can see that I've got the name of the person that I'm writing to, that it's an opening paragraph, that it introduces the topic or idea, that there is emotive language. I feel, the feelings of students. It has long been felt. It is no longer necessary. I must convince you. These are all emotive language. Then to challenge the reader that you're going to change their mind. By writing this letter, I hope to convince you that this is the case and begin negotiations on changing this rule. That bit is in blue. The next bit is in grey, where my opinions are presented as fact. I feel it is now my duty to relate to you the feelings of students. Can you see how I've used my opinion? It's not fact. It's not fact that it is my duty to relate. It's my opinion, but I've made it look like fact. The next 3 slides have got paragraphs on them. This slide is paragraph 2. I've listed underneath all the things you need to find, all the bits that make a really good persuasive letter. See if you can find them and see if you can choose which ones you can leave out and which ones you can leave in. I've done the same on slide 7 and slide 8 and slide 9. I've listed underneath each slide exactly what you need to find in it. Remember, we're deconstructing this. It doesn't matter if you make a mistake. We can discuss this when we have our 30 minutes where we can ask questions to our teachers. So I'll look forward to hearing from you during that session. See you later. Bye. This slide is there so that you can see how a final paragraph of a persuasive letter should be written. Remember that we bring all of our arguments together and we list them again so that they're in the forefront of the reader's mind. Again, we use that emotive language, we use present tense verbs, and we also end this letter with yours sincerely because we know the name of the person we're writing to. It's really important that you sign your letter with your name as well, so that the reader knows exactly where your letter has come from. Try and do your best with this, and I'll speak to you later.